Welcome to the Journos on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Hugh Macdonald and Gordon Parks are with me here in the studio. Lots to talk about on the programme. If you enjoy what you're watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. And if you want to be in with a chance of heading to the Champions League final in the Puskas Arena in Budapest, with you and your pal flights and accommodation thrown in, then all you have to do is subscribe to PLZ Soccer's premium service as well, where there's lots of giveaways, and coming up in the new year, we'll be giving you a chance to get discount prices at some of our sponsors. So there's lots to look forward to, and thank you very much for your support over the course of this season. Lads, World Cup draw coming up. It's usually an exciting affair for about a minute and a half, and then it becomes one of the longest, most boring situations you've ever put yourself through.
Aye, best watch and see facts, as you used to say. I mean, the reason usually with World Cup draws are only academic interest to us in the last 20 years, so you can just watch it and you can just, well, pick it up on the tapes or the wires, as you used to say, on the websites. But now we'll have to watch it. We'll have to watch it just to see who we will be getting. Not that it really matters, I don't think. I think being there is the greatest thing, and anything else is a bonus after that. I
was going to talk about some of the previous World Cup draws, but I seem to remember at one point, I think Arthur Montford, they had it on Scottish television. I think Sean Connery was there, and they looked. I think it might have been 1977. Sean Connery, for whatever reason, they thought, we'll get him in and he'll talk about it, and then up comes the night.
Can I just correct you on that?
Is it 74?
It was Archie McPherson.
Was it?
Because there was a feature written about it. I read in one of the papers on Sunday what famous World Cup draws, and it made reference to it.
Yeah, and this is the bit where we see we've got Peru and Iran, and he went, "Oh, I'll take that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Now stir me another martini." I've embellished it a little bit.
It's amazing how the date you've had it burned into your head, Friday, and there is a kind of feeling of surreal because we've been absent without leave for so long in a competition which is, I mean, this is as good as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing about it, with it being primarily America at the helm, Hugh, you know what that means, razzmatazz. Maybe not the razzmatazz I was thinking, because the American group, the Village People, are going to be singing at it.
One of your favourites,
yeah. Rob, exactly. I'm not sure, and I'm only going to throw this open to you, Hugh. Somebody said to me, this was a good few years ago, and I'm going to tell you exactly the circumstance of this, but somebody said to me, we're going to go and see the Drifters, right? Now, I'm thinking to myself at that point, the Drifters, now I know at least 6 of them are dead, because the Drifters had various singers who come in, Clyde McFatter, Benny King and Johnny Moore. So I'm thinking to myself, now, I'm not sure we're going to go and see the real Drifters, because they come in and out all the time. But I was lucky enough to actually book the Drifters in the early 80s. And the reason why it sticks in my mind and I hold it dear to my heart, the Drifters were a great band, great back catalogue, but I managed to get it when the last of the original singers was Johnny Moore.
Oh, goodness.
Who sang most of the songs. He was fantastic. I'm not so sure the Village People are going to be the exact Village People, and I think they can get away with it because there'll be an Indian guy there, the Red Indian, and then there'll be the cop,
the construction worker,
and the guy in the black leather outfit,
the motorcycle guy.
Yep.
Can I just say, we're in dangerous territory at the moment.
No, but the Village People are a great band. I mean, if you hear, if we're talking about back catalogues, if you heard their albums, I mean, I'm a bit of a geek for these things. Robbie Williams, not so well known in America, as in he couldn't crack it.
No, absolutely couldn't crack it. But there's a lot of bands that didn't manage to do that. I mean, a lot of bands just managed to be British bands and didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, but in the we all remember the early 60s where huge things. Everybody knows the Beatles and the Stones, but huge things like the Dave Clark Five were huge in America.
Yeah.
Herman's Hermits were huge in America. The Kinks.
Yeah.
The truth about the Village People here is, and it's going to be a theme now continuing up to the World Cup, in the same way that the Peace Award is going to get given to Donald Trump shortly by Gianni Infantino.
Yeah.
It's a Donald Trump band, isn't it?
Well, it is.
Absolutely.
It's used with his rallies. I don't know how they managed to actually. It was probably the last one of the bands who went, you know what, we don't care, you can have the song.
And it's really really strange given the village people's background that a right-wing Republican movement should embrace this. You know?
That's a great way to look at it, actually. But YMCA will form the song. 48 nations, Kennedy Centre, 5 o'clock British time. So I think we're all going to.
Shelley's taking the lead role, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to be there. And also Nicole Scherzinger is going to be blasting it out.
But Shelley's going to sing "Go West, Young One."
Yeah.
I said, anything's possible.
Yeah, Nicole Scherzinger is a brilliant singer as well. It's going to be co-hosted by Heidi Klum, Kevin Hart,
Oh yeah.
who's going to be there, and actor and producer Danny Ramirez will interview anyone who's in attendance at the whole thing. So from the 11th of June to the 19th of July, United States, Mexico and Canada. Now, as a spectacle across all of these, we've all had our thoughts on where we want to go for the Tartan Army, but I think, if I'm going to be brutally honest with you, as a spectacle, I'm not so sure the common man is going to be able to embrace it when you think of some of the prices, Hugh.
The prices are incredible. One of the big stories of my lifetime has been the way football has gone from being a working class game to being very much a middle class game, and that includes very much kids playing. But that's another argument. But if you're talking about the prices that they're talking about now, they've got this rate that, you know, there's $100 tickets. There's about 3 of them, right, for the whole tournament. I'm exaggerating. But what the median price of the tickets is going to cost you £1,000 or $1,000, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's if you can get one. It's going to be dynamic pricing as well, so it's going to go through the roof. I was in Qatar, and people were saying, well, what were the prices like in Qatar? And I was just writing a piece actually, World Cup Memories, about Brazil. We watched Brazil over there in Lusail Stadium. I think Brazil cost us about £100 a head for a ticket, and that was premium. It was right up in the gods, mind you, but it was great.
Yeah.
And that I think you can do that, no problem. I think that's a decent price for a ticket.
The problem you've got is it's not even about the ticketing prices, it's everything that goes around it. You'll have travel, you've got car parking spaces at stadiums now that are going for $150. So the exploitation of the punter is going to be at a level that nobody's seen before.
Yeah, and even staying in these places, you'll be charged a premium. The only problem I have with the whole thing is Scottish fans are notorious for going to play at venues where they don't have tickets. So there'll be thousands upon thousands descending on whichever area emerges from Friday's pots. 8% of the Tartan Army will be able to access tickets. Of that 8%, how many of them will be able to take advantage of that group stage price of 85 to 125?
Yeah,
now that points you, where the hell is that seat? Is it a good seat for £85 to 125 or 85 to 150? Is it a good seat? And then you have just hit the nail on the head. The rest of it is £1,000 upwards, and I'm being conservative in that because, they reckon that even the cheapest seat for the final will be £1,500, but how many seats are going to be actually accessible for £1,500, and where will they be? £32,000 is some of the ticket prices that were going for the last World Cup final.
And there'll be a sellout.
Yeah.
What kind of sellout will it be? It's a corporate sellout.
Yeah.
The ordinary fan who creates the atmosphere can't afford that kind of outlay. I mean, to actually take your family out to a World Cup is mind-boggling financially. You're going to get a corporate element that are going to fill those stadiums. And that changes the dynamic as far as the atmosphere goes.
Is it out and out greed?
Yeah, it's just out and out capitalism, isn't it? They're just. There's the whole thing. We always go back to supply and demand. The demand's there, the supply's limited, so they'll make the most of it. I mean, the interesting thing about prices is that you and I know there'll not be empty stadiums.
Yeah.
You know, it's as simple as that. Now, whether, I mean, I'm still very much in the mood for going.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm very much. I wouldn't be at my age as well. I wouldn't be devastated not to get a game because that's life, and
Yeah.
I've been to World
But I'm
Cups.
glad you're saying that because it's important we don't come across as killjoys. Don't have the celebration at the forefront. Because we're in a draw now that we never anticipated.
I don't think you'll be a killjoy on it. I mean, because the Tartan Army won't care. Because what they'll say is, okay, this is a once in a lifetime to take your kids. Dad, have we got tickets? No. Where are we going? We're going to wherever that venue is, and we are going to party for 3-4 days before it.
You saw
We're
in
going to
Germany,
take over the
Peter.
city. Yeah.
And I mean, we were in Germany and they had to close Munich city centre the day before the match. They had to close it because there's too many Qatar Army people in. So there was more, maybe twice as many people in that square as the capacity for the stadium, which was a huge, obviously Munich's a huge stadium. So how many they in that huge square in the Environs had tickets?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it would only be a percentage.
Do you think the same thing will happen? It will transfer itself across the Atlantic?
I think a lot of people, I think there'll be a lot of people go without tickets.
How much of it will be the fear, though? And this is something that I think a lot of people will find out. Do you think there will be a fear among supporters about the difficulties of getting into America at the moment as well? You know, and visas, and then
Yeah, well, that'll be
it's
interesting.
a different country, Hugh.
That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how. I think that's why Infantino and Trump are are really as one on this. So will Trump make? There's a new, as we know, there's a new ESTA visa system. It's not the old ESTA, so you've got to apply again. So there's a new visa system. I would imagine that if Trump is all behind the World Cup, he'll make it as easy as possible for people to get in. But what people, will it be discrimination? Will it be easier to come from?
Look who's been appointed as a guy to oversee the mechanics of all that. Rudy Giuliani's son. There will be certain political points pushed across.
Well, there's
whether that's excluding people. It's problematic. I think the conversations that I have with people about whether they've got an appetite to go or not, you've got to factor that in.
If ever there's a World Cup that is basically a World Cup that is geared towards television dictating, this is it. I mean, you talk about capitalism, that will be to the maximum. The actual time that's allocated, 30-second commercials will be costing a fortune.
Absolutely.
The other aspect of it as well, with FIFA running this, and they've tried to crowbar their way into club football as well, which is getting a lot of kickback, Hugh, is the fact that, yes, the narrative is they put a lot of money back into grassroots football in certain third world countries, but the bill for the people who work for FIFA must be astronomical.
Yeah, I mean, because it's such a huge organisation. And this is why, this is what you've got at the very centre of all this. You've got an existential battle where FIFA have got to make as much money as possible so that they remain relevant, they remain useful, they remain, vital to the actual kind of growth of the game. Because otherwise what we have is this great movement involving FIFA and UEFA where clubs are saying, why do we need these people?
Yeah.
Can we not just, when people say, well, you need them for organisation, you need them for refs, you need them for rules and regulations. And big clubs are saying, well, can we not just sideline them and subcontract all that out? And instead of the pot being skimmed heavily by FIFA and UEFA, we get the money. So there's a real battle. I mean, the reason that FIFA was so delighted by the Qatar World Cup, and other people, there was people that were disappointed with it, and there was people that had reservations with it, obviously. The reason they were really pleased with it, because it was the greatest money-spinning World Cup ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is...
It's beyond... I mean, I remember getting a flight to Zurich, and Seb Blatter was on it, and he was in seat 1A, and he had a wee bag, and when he got off, there was somebody there to meet him to carry his wee bag. And it just so happened when I was leaving to try and get a taxi, he was getting taken into a chauffeur-driven car. They just live in a different world.
Oh, aye.
And once the power gets there, I think when there was a meeting recently and Infantino addressed 124 reps across the globe and said FIFA's money is your money, and they get a big standing ovation. It's all about who can feather their nest.
Yeah, I seem to remember, though, that somebody managed to get into one of the press conferences and started throwing money at him all over him at that point, and then the
Can I
story
also say,
unfolded.
though, and I want to have a campaign launched here today, the timings of the games could probably allow the councils to have the pubs open late. And there's games at 2 o'clock in the morning, isn't
Yeah,
there? Let's push that.
yeah,
Yeah.
What, the pub's open late?
I would love that.
Yeah, well, having lived in Edinburgh, Hugh, for a good period of my life, that was never a problem anyway. They were usually, you could actually drink till 6 in the morning and then crash onto a pub and leave.
Having lived in various parts of Glasgow as well, that was never a problem. There was shebeens open all night.
That sounds okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, Barcy. I'll buy into that with you. Anyway, there's a couple of things that obviously I think everybody wants to know what happens with it. 48 countries are going to be playing in 4 pots that will feed into 12 groups. Now, 11 of these venues in the US, 2 in Canada, 3 group stages in Mexico, 6 playoff places are still to be determined. That'll obviously take place in March with the playoff situation. And I've said on countless occasions that I really want Scotland, for the ease for the fans who are going to make the journey, ticket or no ticket, I really would like it in kind of a New Jersey, Canada, New York. I think that would be great for us.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people nudging towards there's a I think a 1 in 11 chance that Scotland gets the opening game in the Azteca against Mexico, and I think there's a lot of people. I know people near to me shall we say, saying that would be a lifetime game. Scotland in the Azteca, where Brazil strutted their stuff, where Maradona scored those 2 brilliant goals, and the Azteca. But yeah, I mean that's the funny thing about the World Cup, because it's usually with great tournaments, there's an actual culture just grows around, the country or the cities that they're in. But this is so completely and utterly disparate. I mean, it's just like, I don't know what the flying time from Mexico to, say, Vancouver is, but it'd be pretty considerable.
Absolutely. I think if you're a country who's been drawn in any of the pots, in any of the groups, you've got to have them 3 that are close in proximity. I think that's the one key element of it. It just becomes really stupid. I think when I look back I was looking back at some of the old footage of them conducting the draw. And Robin Williams was actually in the 1994 draw, which opens up with him. He's like a bundle of energy. It's the last thing you need with Sepp Blatter looking for it all. And then, of course, 1982. Was the biggest farce ever, because they actually pulled out they told everybody the way they were going to draw it, then they pulled out the wrong teams, and then they had to redraw it again to get it right the way they'd stipulated in the morning. And then when they were putting the balls in this big giant metal cage, the cage stuck. So they couldn't get the balls out. One of the balls broke open, and there was you could see the paper in it, and the whole thing just descended into a farce. Whereas now you're hoping, it seems to be like, because we're so used to the Champions League and it's a well-oiled machine,
just get Rod Stewart over to do it.
Well, that would be absolutely sensational. I'm looking at the pots, and I'm saying to myself, we're in pot 3. So Norway in there, Panama, Egypt, Algeria, Paraguay, Tunisia, Cote d'Ivoire and Uzbekistan in there, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and South Africa is where we find ourselves. Pot 4 is obviously not complete because of the playoffs. But pot 1 and 2, Hugh, you two guys, give me a little flavour of what you would like, because Canada's in there, Mexico, USA, Spain, Argentina, France, England, Brazil, Portugal, the Netherlands, Belgium and Germany is pot 1. Pot 2, you have Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal. You also have, I think, Iran. You have South Korea, Ecuador, Austria and Australia. And then the ones that we know in pot 4 are Jordan and Cape Verde, Ghana, Curacao, who's obviously Decadvacat, Haiti and New Zealand.
Yeah, pot 4's always the worrying one, isn't it? You just go over there and get slaughtered by Cape Verde, you know.
Don't preempt it, but you've got Jordan in your head already. Remember the Jordan debacle? That could be.
There's two ways of looking at this. There's looking at the groups and saying what would be optimal for a way through the group, right? I'm going to go another way. I'm saying what would be optimal for experience? What would I love to see, you know?
That's a tough one, isn't it? We're going to get...
I would love to get either Mexico or Argentina from pot one. Mexico, because that would give us... that would probably give us the opening game,
right,
which I think would be terrific. And for sentimental reasons, I would always wanted to play Argentina in a World
Cup. Because it's Messi's swan song as well.
And the fact of the matter was that, see, when you're talking about people travelling and that, I mean, the Argentinians will just come in force. I mean, when we were in Qatar, we're talking on the television, that there was a guy on the television who'd come to Qatar from Argentina for one game and had to fly back. He said, "Why are you flying back?" He says, "I've only got enough for one game and not enough for accommodation." What did you do to get sold? He said, "I sold my car." Just quite that, I said, "I sold my car to come, that's me going back." So, I mean, the Argentinian fans are really, I mean, I know it because I've been there, but passionate. So I would love to get somebody like Argentina and Mexico in the first round.
Yeah. Scotland are like the Auckland Lake Talbot of this draw, right? But do you want a Canada, Australia, Jordan, where you've got expectation then? Do you want to go pure glamour?
I'm going Canada, Australia and New Zealand.
The Commonwealth Games.
Yes, that's what I'm going for. Partly.
That's a perception of 1986.
No, but
right?
Joey,
These teams will get better.
Steve Clark, well, of course they'll get better, but Steve Clark's the luckiest manager I've ever met. So he'll get to the situation where he'll be brought back in a chair, like what do you call it? C-3PO was in Star Wars 3, I think, and he'll be brought back into the country because he's got us out of the group stages for the first time ever, and everybody's going mental. What are you going for then?
I think, you know what, that's the priority is to do something we haven't done previously, qualify through the stage. And that route, I can see us doing that.
Yeah.
But I also want to have a carnival, a celebration of the best it can be, to get a Messi, to get that glamour installed in it. Give us that. Give us England.
Yeah, you take England out of that. That's an interesting one. No, but it would be on an absolute doing.
I don't want England for a variety of reasons. One, an absolute doing, but two, it's not glamorous to me. I mean, we get England, we can play England anytime. I want, as I say, want a Mexico, Argentina.
But that speaks to your cosmopolitan way that you have.
That's
right?
what we are, man.
Yeah, I think they could win it this.
Well, Scotland.
England.
Auckland Lake Talbot.
I wouldn't know. Well, listen.
There's no superstars in them. They've got a great work ethic.
I think there is
Bellingham's a superstar.
I think Kane's a superstar now as well.
Okay, I stand corrected.
I think Kane now is with Haaland is the best striker in the world.
Kane's the best back to goal striker.
But the reason I'm saying this only due to the fact that if you look at that, the previous golden generations that they have paraded, they were really high profile. They were always in the press. Kane's not.
No.
Kane's the most low profile megastar.
The interesting thing about England is that I always laugh at the golden generation. The golden generation were the golden generation that didn't win any gold.
Yes.
I mean, so it was a complete fallacy. But my goodness, what players that they had. But the big problem was two things. One, there was no cadre team spirit. We know this now because it's coming out.
Yep.
Manchester United players sat there, Chelsea players sat there, nobody got on. The second thing, most importantly, is that they were weakly managed and that the managers wouldn't take huge decisions, wouldn't say, like the Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard thing.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, do you know what, I'm just going to have to go for certain, I'm just going to have to say, this is nail my colours to the mast.
Yeah.
I'm a Gerrard man, I'm a Lampard man. Instead they said, no, we'll put all three in the team.
You're talking about Sven.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Tuchel is completely different. Tuchel is a manager who, and you've seen it already with the Bellingham situation. I'm not saying Bellingham will not go to the World Cup because I think that would be a huge call. I don't think Tuchel would blanche just saying to him, no, you're not coming to the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because of the spirit in their camp, the talent in their camp, I think they're certainly in with a shout.
I think they're really in it because I think they've got problems over their goalkeeper. I don't think their goalkeeper is Donnarumma and top class. I don't think he's okay. Centre back, I think they're fine. Stones is a very good player. Midfield are strong, and they've got capable. Kane up front.
Arguably the best midfield player in Europe at the moment, Declan Rice. Doing the job he does.
Yeah.
Who's better?
He does a really.
There's a question I'm needing.
Well, I mean, I think Vitinha's better than Rice as a holding midfielder. I think he's got a bit. But I agree with you. That's an argument.
Yeah.
If somebody come out and said Rice, I put my hand up. Fair enough. But I'm a Vitinha. But as you rightly say, these guys are Champions League top class players. I mean, people say, well, what happens if he doesn't take Bellingham? Well, he uses Foden as a 10 then.
Yeah. I mean, listen, by the way, with all due respect, the boy is a special player now.
So Saka. Saka's a smashing player.
But you also, the thing about a World Cup is you bring the African nations dynamic to it. There will be somebody that will emerge.
Yeah.
These are quality teams, again, with an abundance of players that play in Champions League level.
And we've only got 4 or 5 months to find a centre half and a striker.
And the goalie maybe, because the goalie will be 43 when he goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Dino Zoff played in the World Cup final at 40.
That's right, he did.
You know, so, you know, keepers still... I'd be happy with Craig Gordon. I wouldn't be worried about Craig Gordon letting us down. I think he's still a good goalkeeper. Reflexes, still shot stopping okay. Yeah, I'd be happy with Craig. Who do you think's going to win it?
That's a great question. I want Messi to cap his
Again?
career again, because he's just exceptional, and this is a swan song that needs a bit of a silver lining.
And he's the greatest of all time for you?
No.
No?
Maradona for me was supernatural.
Yeah.
And he played an era where it was more difficult to do what he did.
Yeah. You'd be hard pressed not to say he was the greatest of all time if you won it again, wouldn't you?
I think it's an argument. I'm agreeing with Gordon. I'm a Maradona man, but this pub argument stuff is great. I mean,
I love pub arguments too.
It's great stuff.
I'm a Pele man.
Why can't you be a Pele man? Pele was one of the most important players, one of the greatest Brazilian teams of all time when he was 17.
Yes.
When he was 17.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's astonishing. So of course you can be a Pele.
It's a generational argument. I never watched Pele.
It wasn't my generation in 1958, but the stats back it up. One of the best teams of that period demanded to the manager that this 17-year-old must be in the team. And he scores 2 in the World Cup final at 17. I mean, it's
How can
ridiculous.
someone like me make an argument for Pele when you never watched them? It just can't be done.
Well, I watched him.
I was a Pele fan up until
Viagra?
No, 1979. Up until 1979 when Maradona came out at Hampden, and I watched that and I went, oh my God, I mean, I haven't seen anything like this in my life before.
Yeah.
I mean, he was making really good players look really poor.
He's got he had the best warm-up of football history.
Yeah, Napoli.
Life is life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
it is.
How many people can do that?
Yeah, well, I'm sure, listen, believe me, you can. If social media was about 1958 or 1970, they'd have Pele memes out there on TikTok.
Pele did in the area of Pele's goal, the one he chips over the player and inside the box, then volleys at home. God.
Here's the thing then, you know, as we get ready for it, and I make no apologies for focusing on the World Cup in the journals, because it's coming up the draw, and by the time it gets there you'll have your own special memories. Certainly me as a kid, I thought Scotland qualified for World Cups all the time. Certainly watching them, it was an absolute joy as well. So not necessarily involving Scotland, can you come up with I've picked 5 of the most memorable World Cup games. I've thrown one in. I've actually got 6 here, but I'm wondering, before I show you them.
Memorable World Cup games?
Yeah, not necessarily the final.
Well, if you take finals out, I think Brazil beating Italy in the 70 final was extraordinary. Every goal was a worldie. But I think the semi-final that year, where West Germany played Italy in the semi-final, and it went to extra time, and it was 4-3 in extra time. That was one of the great non-final games to me, probably. I'm trying to think if there was a greater one than that.
Yeah.
66, there was a tremendous game, North Korea versus Portugal, which was, I can remember watching that in the telly.
It's staggering to hear you
Yeah.
things trip off your tongue.
Of course, but they trip off your tongue if
Because
you,
you were
if you've
there.
lived them.
You lived them,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, I look and I could say to myself, well, 1974 onwards, I can rhyme off great games that were fantastic. I mean, the one that sticks in my head as a boy, you know, there's two games that I wish, and I think people have pain when they talk about them, but of the two games that stick in my head when I was a teenager, you know, I did not want to see Germany come back and knock France out.
Right.
You know, because France were 3-1 up.
Was that the Schumacher?
And they were attacking. They were still going. Giresse, Didier Sis, Dominique Rocheteau. What a team they were. Tigana, Platini. But they just kept going forward. And I'm saying, shut up shop. Don't let the Germans back
into
into
the France player that...
Battiston.
Schumacher.
Took him out.
I mean, that's iconic, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other game that really pains me, is Paulo Rossi's hat-trick against Brazil, 3-2. You know, because Brazil, well, that's the best side I've ever seen, never to win the World Cup.
I would argue with that. I would say the best team I think the two best teams never to have won the World Cup would be the Hungarians in 54, because they were the greatest team in the world by a mile, had thrashed Germany in the quarterfinals or in the group stages, and then lost to them in the final because Puskas was injured and they probably got a goal chalked off. And the other ones, I think, was the Dutch team that lost to Germany in 74.
It's a great shout, yeah.
They didn't lose unluckily. That was two really great teams playing at their prime. If you look at the 22 players that day, unbelievable.
Should England have won it in 1990?
You're talking about the Germany game?
Yep.
I think they could have won it in 1990. I think they were unlucky in 1970, by the way, and that they just came up against a great... I think the England team in 70 was better than the 66 team. They came up against a really good Brazil team in the section and only lost 1-0. Yeah. And then they threw it away against Germany in the quarterfinals.
Oh, it was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Scotland played Uruguay. Famously, Uruguay got a man sent off early. That's the most frustrating game I've watched. And Charlie Nicholas get cemented early on.
Yes, absolutely. But of the games in the generation where you can remember World Cups as well, I mean, even this generation now, France versus Argentina, was just bonkers. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Mbappe...
What was the Brazil game when they got absolutely hammered?
That was
7-1
that was Germany.
I've got that there.
The Germany. That was.
You had to look again at the screen.
Have you ever seen so many Brazilians crying, grown men and women and kids?
This is the power of football. We are a very, very passionate nation about football, but we're quite repressed emotionally.
Yeah.
But the Brazilians and Argentinians and the South Americans are as passionate, maybe slightly more so than us, but they've no repression of emotions. So you see things like, I mean, when Brazil, they talk about it, you won't believe this, they talk about Brazil losing the World Cup in 1950 and again to Uruguay. Goalie let one in at the near post. And they talk about that in Brazil the way we talk about Bannockburn or, or Flodden or Culloden. That is burnt into the national psyche. The level of how the significance of football and football culture in these countries is extraordinary and what it means to them. There's so many great things that modern media has given us, but I think one of the great clips of Argentina winning the World Cup was the one they gave us of Buenos Aires during the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
And it was like 28 days later. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, here's one for you.
And then all you heard was, whoa, from all the houses, and then people running out onto the street. And I've had the great blessing of actually going to the obelisk where they all stood around it. And it's just like this huge square, just packed full of people.
Yeah, I think somebody put a drone up.
Yeah.
Football can create moments of time that are instantly ingrained in your brain. Republic of Ireland against Romania.
Paddy Bonner.
We made a documentary, we made a film about it.
Yeah.
These moments I can still see in the mind's eye. I mean, these are That's what the World Cup does.
Absolutely.
And Ruffy, God bless his soul, yeah.
Has Ruffy been at a World Cup?
Yeah, well, he actually mentions the fact that, listen, we were booed. Some of us smuggled back into the UK. He said, but 4 points, 4 points against. He says, okay, we drew against Iran, we lost to Peru, we beat the Netherlands, Holland as they were called then, Scotland 3, Holland 2. I mean, when Gemmell does score the goal at 3-1, it's game on. We're a goal away from qualifying.
About the Gemmell goal. When McTominay and Tierney and the goals go in.
Kenny McLean, yeah.
The other night, I got a text message at full time from a pal of mine, and the text message read, Archie Gemmell's gone from greatest goal of all time to number 4 in the space of 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably true.
I put him at number 2.
I would, I must admit, I can't move Archie.
Okay. I think I moved Archie only for one reason. I had to do a piece on it, the Thames, and I moved McTominay to top because McTominay's goal meant something. Archie's goal was only meant something in aesthetic terms.
It only meant something in aesthetic terms once Johnny Rep had beaten Ruffy from about 30 yards.
That's right.
But it was on.
It was on, and
See, whenever I see Ruffy, and again it's ingrained in my head, it's the Brazil game and the ball flying by him. I can still see when I'm looking at him, balls flying
Can
by.
I just say something to you though? And I don't want everybody to quickly jump onto YouTube, but I defy any goalkeeper in the world to save Zico's free kick. It is actually an inch below the bar and an inch inside the post. Even Ruffy at his absolute best would never have got it.
it's like see now though the camera angles. And there's that other great one in YouTube, the Tony Kroos goal, the free kick. The one that I think it's against Sweden, where the ball is rolled to him from the free kick. He's out wide, and he hits it like that. And it actually, people talk about postage stamp.
Yeah.
It's just, but the technique of these players.
Georgie Hadji could do it for the left wing.
That's
He did it for 40 yards.
Yes, absolutely. These are all
Well, that's
great
a great
goals.
thing about the World Cup, because you could say the standard of the Champions League game by game is higher. I would say it is, no doubt, because every Champions League player is an internationalist. Not all internationalists are Champions League players. But the World Cup and its audience and the focus gives us moments through life that we will never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I've got to say, I think, and I might be corrected, I'll have to go and have a look, but I think I have I know for a fact I have the complete 1974 Panini sticker album filled with every player, which is no mean feat, because the one thing about these World Cups, they throw up some tremendous memorabilia from them. I know you're looking at me as if I'm a complete
No,
space
I've got
cadet.
them as well in my drawer somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
And you do, and I hope we spoke about it. What does it do, Scotland qualifying? What does it do culturally for us? What does it do for the nation's psyche? What it does is playgrounds across the country are doing that again.
Yes.
When was the last time that happened?
Yeah, absolutely. These are great moments, but the only thing that is the best way to finish it all, apart from looking back on some wonderful games, Hugh, is just to say, when the draw comes out, when the excitement's there, when you book with your travel agent the lot, the most painful aspect of this will be if we go there and just are as flat as we were in Germany. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I hope it's not the case as well. I'm still luxuriating in qualifying. That's for me. I'll leave the angst to next year. I'll just say that. But going back to your question, how the clubs and how the international sides will go on and who'll win it, people forget just how warm it's going to be over there.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a South American, or maybe it's. If there's a Senegal or whatever that's really up for it, it's going to be I think it tilts towards non-Europeans.
Yeah, and I didn't get. I mean, who did you say you think's going to win? I
look at firepower. Argentina is overloaded with it.
Yeah,
but there'll be other nations. But I think purely for a send-off. To see Messi carrying the trophy away, it'd be for me perfect.
So you think Argentina?
I think they've got so much attacking weaponry. It's hard to not look at them anyway.
Yeah, I think depending on where, in the group stages and of course the weather as well that you mentioned, Hugh. But I'm going to stick my neck out and say this could be I know I'm going to be despised for this because Scotland are there, but I'm going to stick my neck out and say I think England are going to be there.
No, I wouldn't shoot that down, not at all. I think they will definitely be in that little cadre of everybody's going over there with different ambitions.
Tell you what will kill England, as it always kills them, the media. And the hype and expectation.
Are they playing?
They do. They self-destruct, but they create some kind of drama. There's always a narrative behind it and a negative.
Yeah.
And the responsibility and pressure's too big to bear.
I think the difference to England this time, and it can work either way, is the manager. He is really, I mean, I know Capello and that was strong, but he's not a compromiser, Tuchel. Tuchel will make, that's why, he's fallen out at every big club he's been at. After a while, they just can't handle this character. So whatever way it works out, but I tell you one thing, he won't be afraid to pick what he thinks is the best team, not the best 11 players.
But you've already got a negative narrative there, right, with Bellingham. That's already becoming a bit toxic.
Yeah, but he'll look at that as say that, he would be quite prepared. Bellingham will have to change because Tuchel won't.
Well, let me predict this. From a marketing point of view, and you talk about the World Cup being monetised, there's absolutely no way Bellingham doesn't go.
Maybe Bellingham just needs a dose of humility because if he wants to be involved.
I think England, and Spain out of the European nations as well. They bat deep, as they say. They've got a strong squad. Yeah. But I go possibly just for romantic reasons, but I would go for Brazil. Yeah. I always want Brazil to win the World Cup.
Yeah, there's a bit Brazilian in you, isn't there? Well, listen, it's one of those situations that on Friday we're certainly going to enjoy it. It's probably the downside to it all is quite simply the costs, the accessibility to tickets, and we hope that Scotland can perform and get out of the group stages. That would be absolutely unbelievable, but we're certainly going to enjoy it no matter what happens. Who do you think is going to win it? Put it in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you on who you think is capable of going all the way. It's Brazil for your man, it's Argentina for the romantic, second World Cup for Messi, and it's England for me, which try not to be too abusive when you're putting your comments in the section below. But other than that, I hope you've enjoyed our World Cup special on this one. Certainly will enjoy the draw. Let's hope there's no mistakes as they bring out all the countries and put them into the group stages, and let's hope we're in a good area where it's accessible for the Tartan Army. Great to speak to Gordon Parks and to Hugh Macdonald. If you get a chance, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Your support is invaluable. And if you want to get in with a chance of going to another great spectacle, which is the Champions League final, you and a pal, flights and accommodation and 2 tickets to the final itself, all you have to do is make sure that you're subscribed from now all the way through to April when the draw will be made. So from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.